This is the Agorist Nexus podcast. I'm Brandon. I've got my great co-host Dag with me. How you doing, Dag?
Hey, Brandon, I'm doing excellent. Before we get started tonight, guys, I wanted to give a shout out to our new sponsor, Presearch. They're a really excellent new search engine. They function really well. They don't spy on you. You earn crypto just for doing searches, and they have a really cool advertising program called keyword staking. Check them out, presearch.org.
Cool. Yeah, and you can also do different searches on there. So if you still wanted to use Presearch, but you wanted to use Google, they've still got the ability to change search engines as well. So I know that we're sponsored by them, but we wouldn't have taken the sponsorship if we didn't really believe in the project. So with that said, we've got a great guest. I consider him a friend. I've had him on a couple times before. The great Rafael LaVerde, crypto vigilante. How you doing, Rafael?
I'm doing good, Brandon. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here, like always.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for coming on. So, crazy crypto market, huh?
Very crazy, right? I think it's only going to get crazier as time goes on, and we see people, fall more into despair. And once they realize that they are in the traumatic, abusive relationship that they're in with government and with the powers that shouldn't be, right? I think people are rapidly having a rude awakening right now. So, yeah, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get interesting, to say the least.
For sure, yeah. I just tweeted out. What did I say exactly? I said, slaves hold fiat, free men hold crypto. So I really believe that. So
yeah, we're moving into a new age. So let's make sure we persevere, and let's make sure that as many people get their hands on crypto as soon as possible, so that they're ready for what's to come.
Yeah. So do you think this is just kind of like a normal? Okay, it's going to go up a little bit and then go back down a little bit? Or do you think this is going to be like a huge bull run like the 2017, 2013, and so on?
Well, according to the best crypto analysts in the world, which are now part of the Crypto Vigilante family, which were previously members of the Bull Bear Analytics team, which is the oldest crypto newsletter in the world from 2010. Bull Bear Analytics has been publishing on the Bitcoin Talk forum since then. According to what our technical analysts are saying, by far, they are seeing deja vu right now. They are seeing the same patterns that we saw in the past. And so, yes, you can definitely expect for 20,000 to be not the next all-time high, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate that insight, man. Yeah, Bull Bear Analytics looks cool, but I like Crypto Vigilante myself. But
Thank you. We always saw them as our only competition in the world. We really like Bull Bear Analytics and what they've done for the space. Unfortunately, they no longer exist. So it's that's kind of unfortunate. But who we always saw as their number one dude, their best analyst, is now part of our family. So, and that's Mr. W. If you go to our Crypto Vigilante YouTube channel, you'll see that I interviewed him recently. I think it's the last video there, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, we're really excited to have him on the team.
Great, man. So how do you think somebody should go about, I don't know, picking up crypto or earning crypto? I always say, like, if you want to just dabble in it a little bit, get on LRBY, get on Presearch, get on, these other platforms that provide crypto for you and kind of mess around that way. What do you think?
Definitely. I think that earning crypto is more important than hodling crypto. And so in the past week or so, I've gotten more serious entrepreneurs knocking on my door than I've ever had in my life. people that were involved in other areas of the market are now looking into crypto. And while this may seem very positive for crypto, it's a very negative sign, in my opinion, for the market in general, the traditional market in general. And it's obvious, right? With all the shutdowns, all the lockdowns, people are being kept away from doing what they've been doing their whole life, whether it's, running a restaurant, being involved in real estate. And so it's a good thing that people are flocking to crypto, because that means that once this whole chaos is over, they will have these tools in their arsenal, in their personal arsenal. The bad part of it is that, commercial real estate is really getting hurt right now. We have a lot of sectors within the economy that are getting hammered right now because of these tyrants. So it's, thank God we have crypto, right? Thank God that people who right now are being kept away from their livelihood, thank God that they have a place to weather out the storm. And I'm noticing that a lot of these smart, intelligent entrepreneurs are rushing to crypto right now as a place of solace, as a place of refuge. So we're happy to be there for them. And so, but it's sad at the same time knowing that they're getting abused the way that they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to touch on the, since it just happened, the Bitcoin Cash fork with ABC. What's your opinion on that?
I think that Bitcoin Cash showed the world that they are a truly decentralized network. Their leading development team, which was Bitcoin ABC, wanted to impose a dev tax. They call it a funding proposal for development. I forgot the exact acronym.
Infrastructure Funding Program, IFP.
Yeah, there you go. But we call it a dev tax because in reality it's a dev tax, right? You're for the first time in Bitcoin, you were going to start seeing a portion of the block reward not go to the miners, but for 8% to go to a designated wallet of a developer who was going to split them amongst his fellow friend developers. And the Bitcoin Cash community really fought back. And during the time of the fork, there was only one miner mining Bitcoin ABC, which was incredible. So this was an incredible experience to live through. And it was also something extremely positive for Bitcoin Cash. I'm very happy for Bitcoin Cash. I would like to congratulate anyone that's part of that community because they did something historical. And they're no longer subject to this dev tax, this arbitrary dev tax. And now they are free to continue being the Bitcoin Cash that we know them to be. Hopefully, I encourage them, and hopefully, I hope that they end up using this opportunity to set a precedent within Bitcoin Cash in that the market and miners themselves have the liberty to do as they please with the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. So if in the future there's a proposal from some entrepreneur or some miner, and some miner accepts it, to have some sort of application run on the Bitcoin Cash blockchain, I really do hope that there is no contention against that, right? If it's an entrepreneur, risking his work in the market to create an application using the Bitcoin Cash blockchain as their backend, and if there are miners out there within the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem that would also like to partake in the transaction fees of given endeavor, there should not be any centralized body of anything, developers or whatever, to tell people how they should or should not use the blockchain. So Roger Ver actually proposed a funding plan for these types of projects and startups. Unfortunately, some of the same people that proposed the dev tax were against it, and they called such endeavors spamming the blockchain. I don't consider that a spam. I don't think anyone should be saying that that is spamming the blockchain, because no one should be dictating the market what the market should accept or not accept. That's for the market to decide, not for individuals to dictate to the market what is proper or improper for entrepreneurs to do with their money, or what's proper or improper for miners to do with the blocks that they mine. So hopefully they take it to their logical conclusion in that, and in that way, Bitcoin Cash can prosper even more.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like they are. It looks like Bitcoin Cash. I mean, Bitcoin ABC hasn't been getting any hash power, and for those forking, it seems like they've had a hard time being able to get their coins because of it. The split coins, and Bitcoin Cash's price has only increased since then. So I feel like there's, still a lot of confidence in the Bitcoin Cash network.
I agree. And it's not just confidence. There was an actual triumph, right? They actually succeeded in wearing off an attack on the network. If you properly see it as that's what it is, right? If someone wants to impose a dev tax on the network, I mean, you've never seen that in the history of Bitcoin. You've never seen this. So it's definitely something to be happy for. It's something to be hopeful for Bitcoin Cash, and it's something that they overcame. And I think they have a bright future ahead of them, as long as they can continue with that free market stance, and as long as they get out of the way of the market, they'll be fine, I think.
Right on. What did you have, Dag? Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, you good. I was just commenting that it's it really, when we start talking about like the dev tax, and like Rafael was saying, where you have a group of people who are deciding what projects are worthy and not. It just really starts to sound like something government would do, like something central banks and whatnot would do. Am I just being too sensitive because I don't like the government, or does it sound like that to you guys as well?
That's exactly what it is. It's centralization of power. And what Bitcoin did was take the equation of power out of money. And when people start trying to dictate what you should or you shouldn't do with your Bitcoin, or what you should or you shouldn't do as an entrepreneur, or what you should or shouldn't do as a miner safeguarding the network, whose incentive is to protect the network, who has the most to lose in the network. The moment you start to get dictated on these things, you definitely are dealing with central planners. And now the ironic thing is that these central planners will tell you that they're doing so in the name of decentralization. So to me, I see this as another more technocratic socialist cop-out. It's kind of like how the socialists say, well, we're here to save you for the sake of equity and equality, or whatever BS they say. It doesn't, no, we don't need you. And so these guys would say, in technocratic speak, they would say, we need central planners for the sake of decentralization. And that's wrong. The market is the best system for decentralization. And that has a name. It's called competition. So true, I don't like the word decentralization. I think that's ridiculous. It really doesn't mean anything, because what you're really trying to grasp at is the concept of competition. That's a capitalist concept. And if you don't understand capitalism, then you are going to try to control the market or engineer it so that it mimics what capitalism actually offers, which is a competitive free market space. When everyone is able to compete, and you don't have to have anyone dictating, we need such and such amount of people competing at all times. I mean, does that sound weird? We must have 20 people competing in this area. Wait, to start off, why should we compete? Is it profitable? And why is the number 20 the number that of optimal competitors in the market? Why not just let the market decide? What if the market says that for a given sector, having 10 competitors is good enough so that you can get a real good competitive product? Or what if 500 people, 500 entities is enough? Who knows? Let the market decide. So, yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Dag. It really is a problem of central planning that has crept into cryptocurrency. And yeah, I think that's one of the biggest problems in crypto, if you ask me. They wouldn't say it though. Because,
I mean,
it goes against their propaganda of saying, oh, we're for decentralization, but you're still central planning for the sake of decentralization. So,
right. And the thing too is that that it's like, why do you have to mess with Bitcoin Cash? Why can't you just make your own token or whatever and say, hey, this token helps our development team, instead of forking off the blockchain?
well, why does a socialist who thinks he knows better than anyone else in the world, why don't they, if they know so much better than anyone else in the world, why don't they start their own company and make a lot of money and profit and provide awesome service for everyone, an awesome service for everyone in the free market, instead of going into government and stealing people's funds through taxation? Why do they do that? Because they're really not that smart, man, because every socialist wants to live off other people. So what we saw with Bitcoin Cash is actually really stupid because, as you know, the block reward halves every 4 years. So the block reward really is a subsidy, and you have to see it as such. The block reward is a subsidy, and it's not something for the network to depend on. That is not part of the Nakamoto consensus. The block reward subsidy was something to get the market going, but it's not something for miners to solely rely upon. There should be a strong network within the given blockchain so that miners can scoff off the block reward if they need to, because they're making so much money from transaction fees that who cares about the block reward? That should be the mindset. The people covet the block reward because, number one, they don't have the ingenuity to actually create capital on top of the blockchain. A lot of these developers are not entrepreneurs; they're just engineers, and they're not capitalists. And a lot of people, from my experience in crypto, are very economically illiterate. So, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's the truth. And I myself wouldn't call myself an economic master by any means, because that's something that I see myself as a constant student of, and like to work with someone like Ed Bugos, I would say, wow, Ed Bugos is competent. He's someone that is very competent in economics. I feel like a noob when it comes to economics in front of someone like him. So to have that fatal conceit, that presumption that you know better than the market, and you're talking about protocols and networks that are to supplant the existing system, and that you are going to come in and say that I know better than the market, and I know what is best for the cryptocurrency, and I know how to dictate and run this market. That person is talking like a central planner, like Ben Bernanke, like any Federal Reserve chair. They're talking like a bureaucrat. And that's what you've seen. You've seen a lot of these technocrats arise. And I think Bitcoin Cash just proved to us that Bitcoin Cash itself has the capability of freeing itself from anyone that wants to take over the network. So yeah, I'm rambling a little. I don't want to talk anymore.
I think that's kind of what I think that's kind of what happened with the original BTC BCH fork, Bitcoin Cash forked off from BTC because it wanted to free itself from Blockstream and Lightning Network. You know.
Yeah. So it was the same. It was a similar situation, right? They, Blockstream were the centralized group of developers that thought they knew best what was best for the network. And instead of having a more Hayekian approach where everyone comes into the market and experiments with different ideas, they did not allow that. And they ended up becoming an authoritative figure within Bitcoin BTC, which ended up splitting the Bitcoin network in half. And you had big blockers and small blockers, right? And small blockers are now still part of BTC, and obviously, and big blockers are either when Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV, right? So it's what happened, and it's okay. I think I for a while there I was kind of upset that this had happened in Bitcoin, but I understand now that that it was necessary, and that it was meant to be. Things were supposed to go this way, because humanity is not going to change overnight. You're not going to get rid of tyrants. You're not going to get rid of the predisposition towards statism overnight just because we have some cool new technology. It's going to take, a faithful few that understand the value of the Nakamoto consensus, and they are going to keep building a network where absolute free market competitions is what calls the shots. And right now we still have that. As long as we have that, we're good. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and I want to thank Bitcoin ABC for the free airdrop too. So.
Oh yeah. If you can claim it, right?
Yeah. If you can even get it within 5 days, but because barely anybody wants to mine it, and that's the free market speaking. That's praxeology. That's human action, like that book behind you right there. But to change subjects, what's up with BSV, man? I haven't really heard much news about BSV lately. I do kind of like that project too. Not as much as Bitcoin Cash, but I do like some BSV. So probably just because of you too, man. So you really kind of opened my eyes to BSV. So I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, well, BSV is growing, and it's growing in spite of there being so much contention against it, unreasonable contention against it. It's almost like people did not take their Logic 101 class, and they forgot that ad hominems were not good arguments. So people just focus on the personality of Craig Wright, on the personality of Calvin Ayre, and they're just people. But there's a lot more than that to Bitcoin SV. There are a lot of amazing projects. Honestly, for me, I mean, when I look at the startups that are coming out in crypto, those that inspire me and give me most hope are within the Bitcoin SV ecosystem. And the reason why is because it is the sibling chain of Bitcoin that has never gotten in the way of market demand. And it is a chain where the ideals that I hold dear of the Nakamoto consensus are respected. There's, again, a lot of misconception regarding Bitcoin SV, and people watching this right now may be confused that I'm even talking about it. How is it that an anarchist from the crypto vigilante talking about this? And it's, well, because I understand it, guys. It's that simple. I understand it, and I know that with Bitcoin SV, you as an entrepreneur can actually use the blockchain as you please, as you want. And that might sound like a crazy idea to some, but you should be able to use the blockchain however the hell you want. And if the market accepts your use of the Bitcoin blockchain, then, and if the market accepts it, if the miners who are like the oracles of the market, right, for Bitcoin, if they accept the transactions of your startup, then who's anyone else to tell you that what you're doing is wrong or spamming the network? That's ridiculous. Yeah. So Bitcoin SV is really it's been, I think it's growing a lot in the area of applications. It is in my opinion the purest form of Bitcoin, because it is the original Bitcoin protocol at scale. And Bitcoin SV is proving all of its naysayers wrong every single day. Every single day they're proven wrong. And whenever I hear critiques or arguments or anything that is against Bitcoin SV, it's always just the most obscene ad hominem things. Even when it comes from supposedly smart people, like they're saying that multi-sig wallets and Bitcoin SV, the Bitcoin SV is insecure, and it's the lack of they're so disingenuous. Like there's so much hate towards BSV that it really boggles my mind. It really boggles my mind that there's so much hate towards Bitcoin SV. It's almost as if there was a lot of interest to hate on it on a reasonable level, because I can point out other networks in crypto that are, if you were to define them as a scam, I would say that they're more scamish. Whereas Bitcoin SV, the only claim of it being a scam is in reference to one individual and who they claim or who they do not claim to be. But that is, most people in BSV don't really care about that, to be honest. Some of the most important projects in BSV have nothing to do with Craig Wright or Calvin Ayre. If anything, and to be completely honest, for my research, I'm least interested by the projects funded by Calvin Ayre. It's almost like Ari, I forgot his name, Ari from Shark Pool. He has a startup called Legally Chain. He put out on Streamanity, which is like a YouTube version on the BSV blockchain, on how you should never take money from VCs, and he was kind of making fun in a sly way of Calvin Ayre. Because you in Bitcoin, the way that Bitcoin SV is set up for the entrepreneur, you really don't need to take funding from anyone for your startup. It's really easy to start up a company on the Bitcoin SV blockchain. Extremely easy. To begin, you're using the Bitcoin SV blockchain as the back end of your business. So you're really just working on the front end, and you're working on a wallet and interface, and you're meeting a market demand. On the front end, your clients don't even have to know that you're dealing with Bitcoin SV. All the transactions, yeah, you'll use BSV because you're using, the blockchain as the back end to your business. And yeah, I mean, it's honestly, and it makes a lot of sense to me, because I am sick of these coupon economies like you see in Ethereum and EOS, where every different application has its own token. To me, that's scamish. That's scamish, but no one talks about it, because I think a lot of it is because people are economically illiterate, but it's because, or people are just not woke to what's really going on. But in BSV, every startup, every application on the blockchain uses BSV as a unit of account, as it should be, and as it rationally makes sense. So everything that people have always wanted to build on Ethereum is built better on BSV. And if you don't understand that, then I'm sorry, but you're behind. And most people in crypto are behind on this aspect of protocol development and on protocol competition and what one protocol has to offer in juxtaposition to another. So what BSV has to offer in my opinion, is way better than what Ethereum has to offer. Few understand this, and I'm sorry for them that they don't understand this. And they're, in my opinion, late to the party. And us big blockers knew that this was possible within Bitcoin, within the original Bitcoin protocol from the get-go.
Yeah.
There are a lot of naysayers, a lot of central planners again, that said, how dare you do that on the Bitcoin blockchain? Who are you to do that? We won't allow you to do that. Well, who the fuck are you to tell me what I can do or not do? If I'm starting up a company and the miners that I'm in business with are willing to take my transactions, then fuck off. I don't need you. I don't need your permission. And this is what these guys get off. They get off thinking that there's some sort of, they think they're the leaders, that they control the blockchain as if it belongs to them. It doesn't belong to them. So you can talk all the smack you can want about Craig Wright and Calvin Ayre, but they're never telling anyone how they should or shouldn't use the Bitcoin SV blockchain. Sure, they have opinions as to blah, 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 and they're very, you know, they're objectivists, right? They're very Randian, so they don't have a problem using the law, to government law, to settle disputes. But in terms of how an entrepreneur uses the blockchain, you can use it to store data, to use for payments, whatever, for an application, for your business. And it's that freedom which is attracting a lot of people to BSV. It's that freedom. And it makes economic sense again. You're using the same unit of account in the same network, the same blockchain. It's easy. Its genius is in its simplicity. It's a proven concept because you're using the same original Bitcoin protocol at scale. It's the same exact dynamic, the same economic infrastructure, and the same market drivers that made Bitcoin what it is now. Its success is because it had that infrastructure in the past. Now, what BTC is now is very different than what Bitcoin was pre-August 2017. You know, it's very different, very different. The economic incentives are completely different with Segwit. They're completely different. You're actually playing a whole different game. They change. It's like we're playing rugby, and like halfway into the game, someone changed the whole rule set. And now a goal means something else, and you need to earn this and do that. And then there's people on another field playing for you, and it's a whole different game. But you've been winning the game up to halftime, and you still are carrying that momentum into halftime, into the next, period. But you're playing by different rule sets now, And so the goals that you made then don't necessarily count for the future. The future is going to ask you to score your own points. And so I see BTC having challenges in the future. I see BSV being an underdog because of all of the BS that people have against it. But I'm very confident in BSV, and the fact that Bitcoin Cash was just able to do what it just did makes me very optimistic regarding Bitcoin Cash, and that Bitcoin Cash could actually become a real competitor to BSV in everything that I just spoke. Everything that I just spoke about is possible within Bitcoin Cash if they do things right. Then again, they've changed a couple things that maybe make it difficult, but because it's changed. They really did change their protocol as well in their last upgrades. But it's still possible that Bitcoin Cash be a competitor to BSV, but I think BSV in its scaling, it's remained very simple, and its ethos of having a fixed, stable rule set, a fixed, stable protocol, make it extremely attractive to anyone that wants to build on a solid foundation.
Right. Yeah, I really like I really like both those projects, and I definitely agree with you on both those. I want to switch gears to Monero. There's an article in Cointelegraph that just came out that's titled "Privacy privacy coins no more? ? CipherTrace file patents for tracing Monero transactions. What's your opinion on that?
That's all just bullshit. The
Right.
reality is that, yeah, it's all BS. If you guys really want to understand this, there is the Breaking Monero series. Again, it's called Breaking Monero, like Breaking Bad, but it's called Breaking Monero on YouTube. And Justin Ehrenhofer and I forget the name of his Monero beast, Sir, gosh, just said it before starting the meeting. They talk about everything that CipherTrace is attempting to do. CipherTrace has only been able to make probabilistic claims on ring signatures. That's not something to worry anyone about unless you're doing something illicit and you're also using exchanges. So if you're using an exchange, someone who's doing something illicit shouldn't be doing something with the same wallets that are connected to exchanges, if you know what I mean. If you understand what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
It's not like they're trying to map the Monero blockchain, but they can't map it. They can only make probabilistic claims based on ring signatures, which is what protects the sender. So remember that in Monero, ring signatures protects the sender, stealth addresses protect the receiver, and ring CT hides the amount transacted, right? So they're trying to go after the senders, right? Ring signatures. They are, it's probabilistic in that every transaction there is 11 possible decoys, right? There's 10 decoys and one real one, right? One real sender and 10 decoys. So just make sure that I think that Monero, it doesn't mean that Monero is been completely made transparent at all. It just means that they're making probabilistic claims. Now, how do you protect against that? Well, just make sure you use coin control, meaning you use wallets for certain things and wallets for other things. Don't mix wallets. Just like doing good accounting. Make sure you move your money around amongst, not against, if you have wallets for certain things and wallets for other things, keep them separate. Or maybe have bunch of other wallets for one aspect of your life, a bunch of other wallets for another aspect of your life. Move money around amongst these wallets. Move money around amongst these wallets. Don't cross-pollinate amongst, you could. Again, the more you move money around between wallets, the more you obfuscate things by, and this is, the more you obfuscate things, you increase its entropy by a lot. I'm forgetting my English. Sorry. I'm forgetting words.
No problem,
I'm forgetting words. But yeah, so you can also do what's called churning, and people just like send funds to themselves within Monero. So no, Monero is always going to have these attempts. If you go on Reddit right now, there's a guy from Czechoslovakia that was a chain analysis and investigator, and he kind of divulges what they're able to maybe do with Monero. It's nothing serious, but the market's always a step ahead, right? There's technology out there that is ahead of what Monero has to offer right now, and we're embracing that too. It's not Monero's not the only one. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any questions, Dag?
I have a question or two written down here, but it's kind of a a gear change. So I don't know if we're ready for that. Or if you do anything else on this topic.
Yeah, man,
Well,
Rafael could do it all, bro. So, you know.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, honestly, if you guys are concerned about the CipherTrace FUD, just go on YouTube and go to the Breaking Monero series. Watch those videos. Literally, CipherTrace, what they're doing is copy-pasting everything that these guys are saying on the Breaking Monero series. And these are things that we've always known. Like privacy is not something that it's either like an off or on switch. Privacy is within a spectrum, right, where you are extremely private on one end and extremely transparent and open on the other end. So you're never going to be completely private, but you are always going to be around here, right? You're always going to try to be as private as possible. So as blockchain analytics becomes more sophisticated, so will the cryptographic means of making sure that you have fungible cryptocurrency. So this is going to be a cat and mouse game forever, guys. And the way I see it, we're always going to be ahead because there is what moves us is not protocols from some bureaucrat. What moves us, or the command of some tyranny or some, you know, what moves us and what moves the people of the world is our desire for freedom. And so you're not going to stop that. There's no way you're going to stop that.
Right.
So it's not going to stop. So, yeah. So we can change gears. We can talk about something else.
Okay, so let me try to think of a good way to phrase this. So in the last several weeks, I guess a lot of cryptos have really gained in price, notably Bitcoin. Obviously, it's I guess we could say nearly doubled. So when I look at other coins, like let's say Bitcoin Cash, for instance, on the one hand, I'm like, well, why hasn't it seen the same kind of action? But at the same time, it's like, well, it went from a little over 200 to it's a little over 300 now. Like, yeah, it's only $100, but that's nearly 30%, right, of what it actually increased. So I guess why are we seeing some coins gain so much more than others in this? I feel like maybe they should do it a little more evenly. Is it just that Bitcoin is like the name in like cryptocurrency? People aren't really into it, no Bitcoin, and that's why it's getting so much more of a bump. Do you have any insight on that, or maybe what we can expect to see out of Bitcoin Cash? I've really been liking Bitcoin Cash versus Bitcoin here, so I'm kind of curious in that regard. But anything you have on that would be excellent.
Yeah. So BTC after the Bitcoin fork, right, of 2017, when big blockers and small blockers split away from one another, BTC was able to keep the ticker symbol, the BTC actual ticker symbol, and that goes a long way for brand recognition. So, in my opinion, BSV and Bitcoin Cash have also claims to being BTC, right? But to being Bitcoin, to being Bitcoin. But it doesn't matter what you call this anymore. The truth is that the market will decide depending on what performs best, not now, but when things are grimy and when things are difficult, when BTC is faced with economic pressure. That's when we're going to see what BTC is really capable of. They're pushing this idea that BTC is only a savings technology. Well, yeah, sure. Let's see how far that goes, right? Maybe that is enough to take it to the moon and back. Maybe. But I think that the promise of Bitcoin and the promise of cryptocurrency goes a lot further than just being a savings technology. I don't think the Lightning Network will be able to service that because it's not just a function of utility of using money as cash. Sure, hypothetically, if the Lightning Network were to work, we could see it, functioning as cash. But the problem here lies a bit deeper. It's in the fact that Bitcoin miners are agnostic as to what chain they mine, what chain they protect. So a Bitcoin miner can mine Bitcoin BTC, Bitcoin Cash, or Bitcoin SV. And you find a lot of mining companies and pools mining all three, or going to the one that's most profitable for them. At the end of the day, Satoshi created Bitcoin in a way where those who have the most to lose are those who protect the network, the miners themselves. And these guys, when faced with economic pressure, are going to choose the chain that looks out best for them. And in terms of a fee market, of a world beyond the mining reward, the block reward, as we would call it, the subsidy, BTC does not have a fee structure that I find profitable for miners. What BTC relies on is the price of its coin. I forgot exactly what financial house did a study before the fork. Forgot the name right now. It escapes me, but they were talking about how BTC has to be at least at a price of $13,000 per BTC in order for it to be profitable for miners. So up until like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, miners on BTC were not profitable. So now they're finally being profitable because of the price of the coin. Now, the price of the coin is something very relative. It can go up, it can go down. It's not something set in stone. Yes, I want BTC to go to the moon, but I can't rely on the most volatile factors within crypto to sustain the health of the network of the miners. Some people say, Raph, you're worrying too much. That's not you're worrying too much. You're not really taking into account other aspects like the stock and flow ratio. And I would say, sure, yes, the stock and flow ratio shows us that if BTC follows that model, that model of stock to flow, yes, BTC should be where it's at right now and higher in the near future. But again, we live in a very crazy world, guys. And the genius of Satoshi, in my opinion, is that he created something that should not be dependent on the state of the world, that its health, economic health, should not be dependent on how the US government sees it, on how the Chinese government sees it, on how anyone sees it. It should be something completely separate from that, where its economic health does not depend on the price on the exchanges. That price on the exchanges could change like this if anything that does not favor BTC goes onto the news. If there's anything from any government in the world that is against BTC, that will hurt the price of the coin. So BTC is forever tied, its health, the health of its miners is forever tied to the perception of it by the rest of the world. That's why it's so important for BTC to take care of their image so much, and in a sense to kind of they're just very dependent on the exterior world. Whereas the fee structure within Bitcoin SV is something that revolves around applications and services and startups that are within the same network, within the same blockchain, right? So it doesn't matter what happens in the exterior world. Bitcoin SV miners will get paid because of the transactions that happen within its network, not because of the price of its coin and how it reflects on the block reward subsidy. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the future.
So.
Those are two competing futures that we have for miners. One where the health of the miner depends on how the world out there sees Bitcoin, and the other one, which is the BSV worldview, the big blocker worldview, it says, fuck how those people see us. We are an economy that's growing and that is profitable, and then we take care of our own, right? And right now, yes, we're smaller, but if you are a miner, as a miner, I would love for there to be other versions of Bitcoin competing for my future business. And so I think any logical miner sees that, and they like that about BSV. And so, yeah, we'll see BSV for time to come. And you know what, guys? Honestly, this is not an either or thing. My perception of this is becoming one where I see BSV and Bitcoin BTC and even Bitcoin Cash growing into a symbiotic relationship. And this is something that people don't kind of understand because, again, they just look at what's apparent. They don't look deep. Right now, everyone's still like, oh, you suck. No, you suck. We're better than you. No, we're better than you. But the reality is that we are already in a symbiotic relationship. The people that run every one of these blockchains are the same people, are the miners, the same computers, the same specialized hardware runs Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin BTC, Bitcoin Cash. So I think that this symbiosis between these three chains will help each other out, and we'll have a healthy miner. We will have a healthy mining industry because we have this symbiotic relationship, right? So I think that's where we're at, and I think that yeah, let's see what happens with Ethereum, right? Ethereum right now is about to go into their 2.0, and this is the promise. They're about to deliver on what they've been promising for many years, and let's see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens because, in my opinion, the economic structure and the technical structure of BSV is superior in doing what Ethereum wants to do. But people hate on a couple characters in BSV and they miss out on the bigger picture. But it's okay. It just means that we're earlier than them in realizing this, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah, and Bitcoin Cash has smart contracts and tokens. They got SLP tokens, not ERC20. But yeah, I think Bitcoin Cash has a lot of what Ethereum has too. This year, we've really seen DeFi explode, and I know you touched on it a little bit, but and I think that DeFi will be important in the future, but I think that right now it's really new, and some of these projects aren't really DeFi or really delivering at the moment. What's your opinion on that?
Well, at the Crypto Vigilante, we're just cautious of DeFi. That doesn't mean we're cautious mostly on any DeFi based on Ethereum, because Ethereum, as it stands right now, and I don't care about promises and what they're going to do. I run away from anything that promises me anything. I want to see it actually working, or for there to be at least a functioning beta of something, right? DeFi seems like it's a great idea, and like these ideas are popping up, and it's a market demand to disintermediate the legacy financial institutions. I think is great. I think it's awesome. Now, is this something that we should all jump into right now carelessly? No. So at the Crypto Vigilante this past week, we launched our DeFi watch list. It's a series of DeFi projects that we're doing constant analysis on and constantly following up on. We start off with 10 projects that we're keeping an eye on constantly, and we do fundamental analysis and technical analysis on a regular basis. But it doesn't mean that you know, and that watch list can change, obviously, because it's new. So it's important to keep an eye on these things, but it's also important to have a sober mind about them and not get overly excited, because as we saw with the ICO bubble, the ICO craze, people got a little bit overexcited with things back then. And people learn from those mistakes, but there's a lot of new people coming into crypto right now. And it's important for them to have a guide as to what's happening, what's going on. And yeah, these projects look good, but a lot of it depends on Ethereum 2.0 delivering, right? And just think about all these applications and decentralized applications on Ethereum right now that are going to have to make that transition to Ethereum 2.0. There's a lot there's a lot at stake with Ethereum right now. And so these DeFi projects for the Crypto Vigilante, they're not part of our portfolio right away. They're part of a watch list that we created. So they're not part of our portfolio. They could be in the future, but right now they're part of a watch list. We're just keeping an eye on them. That's it.
Great. Yeah, great knowledge. Yeah. I'm definitely kind of, I'm definitely where you're at pretty much. I want to see him deliver, I'm tired of talk. So, but yeah, it would be great to see your list. And if anybody wants to see that, make sure you, subscribe to their newsletter, the Dollar Vigilante, Crypto Vigilante newsletter. Let's switch over to projects like Dash. How are you liking Dash or Zcash or some
I
of
don't
these
like them
other...
at all.
Really?
I don't like either of them. No, because for a long time, Dash said that it was a privacy coin. It wasn't. Study after study came out saying that they weren't. I'm not a fan of Dash. Yeah, I'm not a fan of their Instamine. I think that was reckless, and yeah, there's been a lot of problems. We wrote 2 articles on Dash that the Dash community did not like, but it's not our job for people to like us. It's our job to give us sincere scholarly take and study and research on what we see. So Zcash, I don't like Zcash because it's not private by default. It's optional privacy. Most transactions in Zcash are T to T. They don't use the ZK snarks. So Zcash is something that I think people should avoid. It's not a privacy coin, no matter what everyone tells you.
Right. Yeah, and if you could
coin.
see 98% of the transactions, you can probably figure out the other 1 or 2% or whatever. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're every time I hear you talk about crypto, I'm like, man, this guy's spot on with what I think too.
Thanks.
Yeah, bro. Great minds think alike, I guess. What do you see? I kind of want to switch over to what, if we do see this world fiat system collapse, I think we're going to see mass exodus of all these fiats, and we're going to see just this rush into other assets. What do you think the world's going to look like at that point? And where do you think crypto and some of this other stuff's going to be?
Well, I think people should educate themselves and realize that the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are surveillance coins, and that they're completely naked. They're opening themselves up to mass surveillance on blockchains such as the Bitcoin, Ethereum blockchain, and Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV. For some things in life, yeah, for applications like maybe like Twitter. Who cares if you run a Twitter-like version like Twitch on the BSC blockchain? Anyone can see what you wrote. Well, does that not happen with Twitter right now? Sure. So there are use cases for having transparency on a blockchain, right? But for the use of money itself, I think fungibility is an important aspect of money, and I think privacy coins should be something that we talk about more often because the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are completely transparent. And so not just Monero, but there are other privacy coins out there that we talk about at the Crypto Vigilante that are incredibly valuable. They're mostly undiscovered. They're mostly underrated because people just don't know about them. But some of them have even better privacy than Monero. And So yeah, and they have a lot of potential. I mean, even Monero has a lot of potential. Monero is so undervalued right now. That's because people don't understand the value of privacy right now, but they will pretty soon, I think. Especially when these things happen. And when big money comes into crypto, like we're starting to see these guys come into crypto, right? Like the MicroStrategy, you know, Paul Tudor Jones, all these guys are starting to come into crypto, but they don't realize that. But they're probably realizing it now, but these guys never in their wildest dreams will they create a portfolio that is completely visible to the rest of the world, right? That's just ridiculous. These guys are of high net worth, understand the value of financial privacy. So when these guys realize that Bitcoin is completely open and transparent and that anyone can see and track and trace them, any financial voyeur, that they are completely open to financial voyeurism, they're going to rush, or they're going to see a lot of value in privacy coins. If you're not fungible, you're not truly digital gold, you know? So yeah, we're going to see a lot of growth in the privacy coin sector because it's a necessary property of money. As simple as that. If you don't have fungibility, if one unit of account is not interchangeable for another unit of account, then you're not a good currency. You're not a good medium of exchange. Because remember, the problem with fungibility and the problem that comes out of tainted coins from blockchain analytics is one where you're not only responsible for what may have happened to the coin that you're holding to right now in the past, right? So let's say this coin that you're holding was involved in some drug deal somewhere in some other part of the world that you had nothing to do with. But once this coin reaches your wallet, all of the coins in your wallet are now tainted along with the coin you received. And if you were to go to any exchange or any financial institution, they could say that those coins that you have in that wallet are tainted. And we can't take that money from you. Yeah. The moment people start realizing that, it's going to be a game changer. That right there that's not sound money. You know, good money is like gold, right? 1 gram of gold is interchangeable for another gram of gold anywhere in the world. It's completely fungible. One $10 bill is interchangeable for another $10 bill, regardless of who held it before you, right? The problem with transparent coins is what we call them at the Crypto Vigilante, surveillance coins like Bitcoin and all these coins that are surveillance coins that have a transparent ledger. The problem with these coins is that not only are you responsible for what happened with your coin in the past, but now these institutions, these financial institutions, these exchanges, once you purchase a coin from them, if you were to send them somewhere, they follow you into the future now. They will follow. So if you have a wallet that they know it's your wallet, because maybe you send funds from Keybase or whatever, for Paxos. Paxos was known for doing this recently. From Paxos to your wallet, they follow that transaction. And then in the future, if you move that wallet to maybe like a Wasabi wallet, which has a built-in Bitcoin mixer, right away they say, what are you doing? What are you doing with your money? How dare you put your money through a mixer? And we're gonna flag you, your ID. We're gonna tell the authorities, and on top of that, we're gonna shut down your account at Paxos, and you're gonna be flagged as a suspicious person, not because of what happened in the past before you received the coin, but just because you merely send them to a Wasabi wallet. A Wasabi wallet. There's nothing wrong with sending it to another wallet that just happens to offer a coin join mixing service like Wasabi or what's the Ninja one? The Ninja wallet's called? Samurai wallet, right?
Yeah, Electron Cash does it.
Yeah, like these things, like, so the level of tyranny that we're starting to see is creeping into crypto. So if you are someone that knows and understands the value of having sound money, then you should be aware that a lot of these surveillance coins are counterproductive to your freedom and to your privacy. So I think privacy coins are going to be a big deal in the future.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And you know,
I think
speaking
the next
of,
part. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think the next BTC civil war that they're gonna have in BTC, it's gonna be on the issue of privacy. So those are the small blockers, right? BTC small blockers, they're gonna have a fight regarding privacy. The big Bitcoin big blockers had already a fight about privacy, and you had people within the big blockers that said, you know what, privacy is important, but to a certain degree. There's also other things that are more important. And they see other means of achieving privacy in the future to a certain degree, but not anonymity, and that's BSV. And then Bitcoin Cash was like, no, we want to pursue privacy. Kind of like they dream of themselves being able to compete with Monero sometime in the future. So we know Bitcoin Cash will be pursuing privacy. So we're excited to see that. I'm sorry, but you were saying?
oh yeah, you know, I totally agree with what you're saying about the properties of money. I wrote an article on Agorist Nexus called "The Properties of Money and Cryptocurrency," and yeah, man, if you guys want to see that article, you know, it goes into all of the properties of money and why some of these cryptos have it, and why certain cryptos don't have it. So, you know, and that's exactly why the original BTC lost its traction as a medium of exchange. I mean, you know, Steam no longer takes it. Newegg no longer takes it. You know, a lot of these sites used to accept Bitcoin, and now they don't because of, you know, because of the block war that happened in 2017. So,
So we're going to see another, I think we're going to see another big
one.
civil war within BTC, yeah, and it's going to be on the issue of privacy. Some people within BTC don't want privacy on BTC, and some people within BTC do want privacy. So
I'm guessing Blockstream doesn't want.
I don't know. I don't know where they fall into all that, but what I do know is that that's going to be a big deal, and they're going to be, yeah, it's going to make that fight's going to be so intense that it's going to make the fork that we had between big blockers and small blockers seem like a petty argument. I think it's going to be that big of a deal, because as you can see, BTC is becoming it's becoming the hallmark of cryptocurrency. It is. I mean, it's Big Daddy. You know, it's taking the lead, right? BTC is where it's what people understand Bitcoin to be. So if you ask me what Bitcoin is, my answer is that Bitcoin is a network of miners. That's my definition of Bitcoin. And I've yet to be proven wrong on that. Bitcoin is a network of miners because at a fundamental level, it's the miners that control the network. So
right?
what miners mine is Bitcoin to me, right? Whether it be BTC, BSV, or Bitcoin Cash.
That's interesting. My definition would be peer-to-peer cash. That's my definition of Bitcoin. But
you gotta read the rest of the white paper though, man. Not just the heading.
No.
So good.
Rafael LaVerde, everyone. That's funny.
Yeah, well, we did a dramatic reading of the Bitcoin white paper on our YouTube channel. So if anyone's been too lazy to actually read the whole white paper, we did a dramatic reading of it, so you can read it. You can listen to it while you're driving.
Yeah, it's
a female voice.
I listened to it. Yeah, she's great. She's great. Yeah. She's great. But I listened to it on LRBY. So
awesome. So yeah, we have there are some amazing privacy coins out there that are pretty undiscovered, guys. So if you want to know what they are, I mean, I feel like giving them away right now. But I'm not. I mean, I don't know. Should I? Do you want me to give them away as an exclusive, Brandon? What do you think?
Just one. Only if you want to. Just one.
Just a teaser.
One? Gosh, I mean, I can't
If you guys
give
want
one.
if you guys want the rest, you got to go to TDV. You know.
He's like, oh, don't make me
Gosh,
choose.
I just, you know, if I can't, because if I were to give you one, I'm going to want to give you all of them. And that's not, you know, that's just how I am. I can't give you guys something half-assed, you know. No, I mean, there's better technology than Monero. It doesn't mean that Monero is not good technology. Monero is great technology. There's better technology than Monero. And for example, okay, I'll give you one. There's WowNero, okay? There's Monero and then there's WowNero. And WowNero has, so Monero has 11, a ring signature size of 11. WowNero has a ring signature size
21.
of 22.
Oh, 22. That's right.
Well, it's 21 decoys plus the real transaction 22.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we had them on our...
WowNero.
We had them on our...
WowNero. WowNero is great.
Yeah, we had them on our podcast.
We had them on, and they were really cool, but like, you know, everything was just with them was so, and this isn't talking trash. I'm not talking trash by any means, but everything with them was so goofy. They were like the meme coin, you know, which, you know, was awesome. It was funny and everything. But so anyhow, so I wasn't sure how serious, you know what I mean, to necessarily take that.
No, it's legit, man.
Okay, so
they're a legit project.
Awesome to hear you say that. Okay,
yeah, they're a legit project. I like them. See, now I want to talk about the others. I like WowNero. I think WowNero has potential because of it being, more secure than Monero. And I'll give you that. We can talk. If you want to ask me about other ones, I can answer it. How about that?
No, I like the I like the what's called the crack dealer method there. You know, first one's free. Got to pay for the next one though.
Crack dealer. Yeah. Yeah, man.
So cool. Yeah, crypto's is growing, and I'm really happy crypto's there, because if we didn't have crypto right now, all of these people that are losing their businesses would not have a place of refuge right now. So if you have family or friends that are watching this, I mean, if you have family or friends that are like losing their business, like tell them about cryptocurrency, maybe send them this video. Maybe this video is not for them, but tell them about it, because you'd be surprised how desperate people are right now. It's pretty sad. People are leaving their businesses that they built for 20, 40, 50 years to venture on something crazy in the internet, because they are literally being stolen away. Their livelihood is stolen away from them right now. So it's a good thing for crypto, and it's a good thing for them that crypto exists, but it's upsetting that we live in a world where people can't even work. It's ridiculous for some stupid fluke, you know? It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
you know, a lot of
oh, go ahead, Dag. Sorry.
I was just going to say a lot of this is, you know, really unfortunate, and is causing a lot of hardship. And at the same time, it's forcing a lot of innovation in a lot of instances in a positive way. But obviously, whenever you force something like this, instead of letting it just happen the way that markets would have it happen, you know, it's not ideal. But I say this all the time. I'm trying to be really optimistic about all of the shit that's going down, you know, and I'm like, well, hopefully this is going to push a lot of people in the right direction. Unfortunately, it's going to push the other half of the people in the wrong direction, you know, so, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, these are the times in history when all the big shit happens, like when the real, like, guys, like the people that really, like, this is the time to build, like you just said, Dag, by far. It was during these times that, like, Twitter was built, during the last, you know, recession. But now, you know, we're moving into something worse. So crypto has the power to really change the world for the better. And that's why I'm so passionate for it, guys. It's so cool that you guys are talking about it. And if you guys ever want to talk about it again, just hit me up. I'll make myself available. Because this is very important. I mean, this is the most important thing happening in the world, and I hope more people know about it, because it's life changing and it's something that people need. I wish we lived in a world where we didn't have to build some crazy cryptographic tools to get away from like surveillance and tyranny, but we do, and this is why we're here.
I got a question for you. If this is something that you could,
Sure.
I can't think of a way that you can answer this quickly, but I don't know, do the best you can. So I try and promote crypto in like a practical sense. Like if it's like, somebody like my farmer's market, for instance, or just anybody I'm talking with who might be halfway liberal, hey, do you accept crypto? Can I pay you in crypto? Usually the answer is no, but at least it sort of puts it in their mind. I offer that I accept it for like my personal business and stuff like that. But let's say like you're talking to, the vast majority of people don't know. They couldn't come close to defining the Federal Reserve. They couldn't come close to really understanding anything about how like money actually works. What do you think is maybe like an elevator pitch for like, your average Joe on maybe like how I could convince them to at least look into maybe start thinking about doing any sort of business in crypto?
Elevator pitch, gosh. I mean, I haven't thought.
I know
about
that's
this in a
tough,
while.
dude. I'm sorry.
No, what I used to always say was, this is the money of the internet. It's not governed by government or banks. It's the money of the people, and it's mathematically secure. It's safeguarded by the laws of mathematics. Trying to think of what else you were saying. You were asking me something else.
No, just like how could we? Yeah, like it's that with people just being so having no understanding of what money is or how it works or even basic economics. It's just sort of you only get a minute to talk to somebody about this kind of stuff before they phase out. So I have a hard time. Getting in, making my point, and getting out, and I just don't know if there is a quick way to do it without getting into more complicated thoughts. But I really am trying to do my best.
Sometimes you don't have to give,
usage.
to motivate people. You don't have to talk about what, give them like a pull, but rather a push, instead of, motivating them in the aspect of like towards something. Why don't you motivate them away from something, right? Just tell them, hey man, the purchasing power of the dollar is decreasing. We're about to enter a recession. This is the money of the internet, and here you go. I think sometimes talking about how fucked up the fiat is actually does a better job at pushing people towards crypto than talking to them about what crypto is.
That's a great point. And that is funny that you mentioned that. It is one of the things that say, well, I prefer to have a currency that isn't just inflated away. You can't, if you shove dollars under your mattress, they're worth less tomorrow. And that is, I guess when you mentioned, that really is the point that I try and go with.
Yeah, and I mean, cryptocurrency is something that requires more personal responsibility. You are your own bank. So if that's the case, if you are your own bank, then you have to let them know that. Let them know that this is something that they have to be very responsible for, They are their own bank, and they have to take care, this is a higher calling per se, right? They really have to take responsibility of their money.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I think crypto is going to be very important in the future, and with what has been going on politically, it's kind of crazy because a lot of the same tactics used in the Soviet Union are being used today, just in different scenarios almost. Like, Stalin disrupted supply lines, and during that period, the Ukraine didn't want to bend down to communism, and Stalin disrupted supply lines and stole their grains, and a year later they had famines and they were starving, and that's pretty much how I think, I don't remember the exact numbers, but anywhere from 10 million to 15 million people died. They don't know exactly how many. And it's called Holodomor. And it's how he got the Ukraine to bend the knee to communism. So, unfortunately, I think that the government is going to gain more power and more influence. So I'm kind of pessimistic in that regard.
You mean more than what they already have? That's scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
But I'm very hopeful because we have crypto, because there are truly free markets out there if you look for them. I mean, even on our site, we've got a directory of, people who love the free market. And crypto's that safe haven, and we could send it anywhere, man. And we don't need to use their money. We don't need to use their blood dollars. We've got our own money. We've got our own stuff. And, what we have makes them obsolete. We don't need them. We don't need a third-party bank, whether it be, whichever. But, what do you see in the near future? I mean, I'm kind of saddened to see that people are letting government shut down their businesses. If you told me this a year ago, I would have been like, well, I don't believe in the Constitution because I'm an agorist. I don't think I need a piece of paper to explain my rights. But I would have said no. I don't think that people will allow that because it's unconstitutional. But
Right.
Look at us now.
Yeah, it's plausible deniability, right? The whole medical thing, the whole medical martial law is plausible. It's the perfect. You think about it, that's the perfect way of getting people to bend the knee. I mean, what better way to kill the economy than a medical excuse, right? It's like, what better way, when you're a kid, what better excuse to miss school than a medical excuse, right? Or,
Yeah.
I didn't do my
I've had a lot
homework
of fake
because my tummy hurts. But, it's almost like, the government is people in government are, I just fucked up. That's just fucked up. Use plausible denial, like the health of the people as the reason by which you are going to institute tyranny. That's just so fucked up. But that's just the way that they are. And it is what it is. I mean, it's just going to make the smarter people, like Jeff Berwick says, they are going to be stronger and better on the other side of all of this. The stupid people are going to probably be dead at the end of all this. So we'll see what happens. But I have faith in humanity, in that the smart people will thrive. And just look at all the smart people in the world are in crypto right now. So that just goes to show you, as the dollar collapses, crypto is going to rocket. We know that. So we know that. It's yeah, it's like we don't, I'm not in cryptocurrency for myself necessarily. I am in this, obviously, because I'm a person that needs to eat, but I'm in it because I want to take these fuckers down. That's why,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
why I'm in it.
Liberty.
Because I want people to be free. Exactly. I want freedom. I want to live the world. I want to, when I die, I want the world to be a better place than how I found it, That's what I want. And I want good people to live good lives. I've been blessed with a good life, and I want to make sure that people have a better life after me. So, yeah, I don't, the crypto that if I ever get crypto, it's not for me. It's for my grandchildren's grandchildren, It's for the future. And so it's not just about accumulating money, or it's about accumulating knowledge and passing that knowledge on, and how to be a good steward of that money, of that wealth, of real wealth, not just money. Money is not wealth. I mean, it's a representation of wealth, but real wealth is capital goods, industry, creating goods and services, having the capacity to be a good investor, to be able to manage resources effectively. That's wealth,
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have any further questions, Jack?
No, man, this was great. Just like a lot of our crypto episodes, I'm a lot of it's a little over my head, but I've just been enjoying learning, man. This is great.
There was one thing I forgot to ask you. What are your thoughts on 0x? Because I know they're trying to do a bunch of stuff with, they're just a token, right? But I know that they're trying to do a bunch of stuff.
0x Monero, that one?
No, just 0x. It's ZRX.
Isn't that the exchange?
Yeah, they're trying to do stuff with the decentralized exchange. Yeah.
I mean, they're small. They're part of our portfolio. They're very small allocation, very tiny allocation of our portfolio. What about them? I mean, is there anything particular about them that you want to ask about?
No, I was just curious, like what you thought about their what you thought about their project, if you knew anything. I mean, I thought it was interesting myself, but
it's based on Ethereum, right?
0x? Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So again, everything that's based on Ethereum is something that we're cautious of because of the problems that Ethereum has had scaling. So what's happening in Ethereum right now is very it's something that we're keeping our eye on very closely, because Ethereum 2.0 could be like the thing we were all waiting for, and it could be a disaster at the same time. There's no telling right now. So we're just waiting to see. That's where we're at.
Right on. Was there anything else you wanted to go over, Rafael?
I'm good.
I can tell, man. You got a drink in your hand. I can tell you're good, bro.
I'm good, yeah. I mean, we can keep talking if you want. I'm fine. We can keep talking. If you want, Dag wants to ask any questions for people that are just now getting into cryptocurrency, since he's new into crypto, go for it. I'm open, because I think it's important for people that are new to crypto to, to answer the questions that they need answered. So if you have any questions, go for it, Dag. You said a lot of things over your head. I don't want that. What's that?
No. I'm this plenty for tonight, man. It's just been a few months since I really started getting into it, and I was just really intimidated for years because I'm not a big, tech guy, and I was really afraid I was gonna mess something up and lose money just by sending it out into the ether or whatever, And I just have to say that since I've sort of started getting into it in the last few months, it's really not that difficult. It's not. Once you get into it, it's not that hard. Like, I haven't messed anything up, and I just want to try to encourage people to get started, because you got to start somewhere, and it's just, like when I first started co-hosting with Brandon, and we started doing some crypto episodes, I was so lost, man. But you really do just pick it up, and I've really been getting a bit better at it. I appreciate you coming on and speaking with us and everything, because this is, got a lot of great info. But no, I don't have any specific questions or anything for newbies or anything tonight.
Okay.
Or at this
moment. Yeah, and look, crypto is not just for techies. I mean, techies are actually some of the worst people in crypto, to be honest, because crypto requires that a person be very well-rounded. I think that the best people in crypto are those that are most well-rounded. Because crypto is something that's interdisciplinary, right? It's not just being a programmer. It's none of that. It's about being someone that actually understands the world. So the people that best understand the world are people that are most well-rounded. So you have to understand business. You have to understand something about economics, understand something about politics, understand about people. Because a lot of these guys, a lot of these engineers, right? A lot of these programmers, they come in and and they're always programming, and they never really interact with people. And so they're programming for people, but they don't have any experience with people, or they are maybe very autistic and they don't understand people. So you know what I mean? So you need people from all backgrounds in crypto. This is something for everyone. It's interdisciplinary, and it's something that should be inviting to everyone. So if anyone ever tells you that just because you're not a techie, no. If anything, not being a techie is probably the best thing you could be. The most important people in all of crypto are the investors. And if you're an investor, you're the most important person in crypto. And your voice matters more than any techie programmer. They don't matter. What matters is the investor. That's what matters. They're building for the investor. The investor calls the shots.
That's excellent. Yeah, and I agree. You don't have to be a techie. It can be intimidating because you think you do, but it's not that hard, man. Once you get over that initial fear, it's really not that hard to deal with it. And it's funny you mentioned engineers a couple times tonight like that, and it's like I know a few engineers, and like they're very smart, but they're very narrowly focused on things. You know what I mean? Like they're not really big picture kind of people. At least it's been my experience. I'm not talking trash about engineers. We need engineers, but like But yeah, I've had that experience where they're not, like they may not know anything about economics or anything, outside of their field. It's like, I'm here to solve a problem, I'm going to solve this problem, and I'm not a big picture kind of person. So I get where you're coming from there.
Yeah. So it's, yeah. So there you go. Don't get scared of crypto. Crypto's a good thing. Crypto good.
Yes. Crypto good. Federal Reserve notes bad. I don't know. I guess that's all I got for tonight, guys.
Cool. Yeah, we'll finish it off with a quote like we always do. This one's by one of my personal heroes. By its nature, governments and taxes are not voluntary. Government actions are violent and coercive, and theft as well. The great Jeff Berwick. Agorist Nexus out.